First video of the new year. And it's info dumping. To be fair though, the other 3 video ideas I ended up writing in the break that I ended up taking are a bit more they're a lot. And I wanted to at least start off with something that was a bit more lighthearted. Hi, it's your local internet friend here, aka Toki, and I recently had to deal with one of the funniest things. This has nothing to do with the video, by the way. So I have to constantly keep lip balm on me. If my lips get too dry or end up being dry for too long, the skin itself starts to crack, my lip starts to bleed. It's an entire painful process. And then healing that. But also, if I don't use the right type of lip balm, like I can't just use any lip balm, apparently, and my lips don't end up staying moisturized for long at all. And I just had to go ahead and buy more lip balm because I was low on lip balm, but I was also using a lip balm where I ended up having to put it on like what felt like every 2 hours if I didn't try to drink from something. I went to the dollar store. Actually, no, my mom drove us to the dollar store, and I already knew that I had like 3 to 4 things that I needed to get. I ended up getting like 8 to 12, to be honest, because that's how the dollar store goes. Now, the dollar store is pretty much like a cheaper version of Target. You originally went in there to get like one thing, and you end up getting like 20. But the prices are decently lower most of the time. So I went in there. I grabbed everything else. I looked into all of the lip balms that they have, and I understood. I understand getting like cosmetics from a dollar store sounds like sketchy at best, but I ended up getting like this 3-pack of lip balm that lasted me a good while. And the lip balm in that specific brand of lip balm was really good, for me at least, until I ran out. And I think my mom ended up trying to like help me out by getting me a completely different lip balm, and while it says lip balm, it is actually just a lip gloss. And the only thing it does, at least for me, is make my lips look like I ate fried chicken. I'm a vegetarian, by the way. I do eat fried foods, but I don't tend to eat deep fried foods that often because I don't really like the smell of the oil. Went in there, got 3 separate 2-packs of lip balm and everything else that I wanted to get from the store. Got out, and by the time I got home and I went to go put my stuff away, I realized that I ended up getting what is marketed as baby lip balm. You can't see it because the light is just absolutely bright because it's relatively dark in my room. I ended up getting a 2-pack of what is marketed as baby lip balm. And I think the funnier thing is the fact that it actually works. That has nothing to do with today's video. No, actually, today's video is going to be about essentially a culture shock moment. Well, the multitude of culture shock moments that I've ended up having as a person that can be classified as American, learning about generalized Korea culture, but very specifically South Korean culture. Now, for me, K-pop specifically was a gateway to learning about South Korean culture, along with like 2 to 3 YouTubers that I also watch. And I have organized a few of my culture shock moments into three separate categories. We'll start with the first one. The year that I specifically got into K-pop generally, but very specifically BTS, was the year that I decided to learn Japanese. And by the end of that year, I made the decision to switch over from learning Japanese to learning Korean. And there is a lot that happened with that. First of all, at least for me, learning Korean and learning Hangul, the Korean alphabet was a lot easier for me than trying to read hiragana, katakana, and figuring out kanji. A lot less to try to memorize for me, and that's always a good thing. The second funny culture shock thing was when I started thinking of, after learning a few words in Korean and thinking about the song Gangnam Style, which when I'm talking about the song, yes, I will say it in one of the most Americanized accents I possibly can. But the very specific thing I was thinking about in that song was the main hook line and sinker, generally translated into Big Brother Gangnam Style. It could also be classified as male idol Gangnam Style because they tend to use oppa for both. But it's just like, well, now I have to go ahead and figure out what that means. What do you mean by Gangnam Style? And the third thing actually ended up happening before any of the members of BTS enlisted and entered the military. And that was the story of a person walking back to their place of residence, not knowing any Korean, but knowing the title of BTS's Fire, or It's Burning, and using the word "brutolne" as a way of saying, hey, this building is on fire, we need to call someone. And it worked. The second category is culture and traditions. And the first one in this category is the fact that there are a lot more couple-focused holidays, and according to several people that have either visited South Korea or live there, couple culture is the norm. Like, you might not feel bad for being single where you are currently, or you might think you feel bad. If ever you decide to go ahead and visit South Korea, you will just end up feeling worse for being single, because yep. But the very reason as to why I specified so many couple focused holidays is mainly because Christmas itself is a couple focused holiday, which is in and of itself for me a culture shock, because I have always been taught that it's supposed to be a holiday where you celebrate family and togetherness. At the same time, they also end up doing that during the Korean Thanksgiving, Chuseok, which was like somewhere in like September. The second one is how high the standards are for seemingly everything, which to me is a double-edged sword, because on one hand that means you can always find high quality stuff, even if you're going to the convenience store. But on the other hand, that also means that a lot of people are basically stressing themselves out to go ahead and like be at the top of their class and making sure that their work is always on point, and that itself is already stress. Just thinking about that is stressing me out. I keep forgetting English. And surprisingly enough, the third one is something that I still end up having to deal with as an American. And that is fit in or be judged. But it's like on a completely different level and plane of existence when it comes to South Korea. Remember when I said such high standards for everything? I did mean everything, and that includes a person's outward appearance. But I also mean the idea of respect your elders and know your place, which is even ingrained into the language itself. Case in point, you meet someone, they just so happen to only be 1 year older than you, but simply depending on the fact that either A, they're 1 year older than you, or B, depending on where they are in the hierarchy of like the school that you go to or the job that you're in, you have to use more polite or respectful language. Like you have to do things more formal. Unless they specify that you don't have to use formal language when addressing them. And the third category is food and food places. One of the things that I end up doing when I don't want to focus on anything and don't want to force my brain to focus on anything is I will turn on a compilation video that's like about an hour to 2 hour long of people making Korean street foods. So that would specifically be like these, I don't want to say weird egg sandwiches, but they end up making it like sandwiches with egg and the bread and everything else, or sweet and spicy rice cakes. Why can I not say that correctly? But also blood sausages and other animal organs. There are just certain things that I cannot be comfortable around. And from those videos specifically, food markets, like street food market stuff, they seem cool. But they also seem like I would end up getting overwhelmed and overstimulated really quickly. And there are tons of like cafes and convenience stores that are actually convenient. There are a bunch of like very aesthetically pleasing cafes. Again, one, because everything is at a high standard, but also because they have to get their iced Americano at any time of day. And I would absolutely love to visit those. And I would absolutely love to visit the convenience stores and the cafes. Though the cafes, you might end up having to like walk up several flights of stairs or walk up a very steep hill, because they have a lot of very steep hills. And the last thing I will talk about in this video is the fact that most of the food tends to be shareable size. Most of the food there tends to be spicy and sweet. Again, remember when I was talking specifically about the sweet and spicy rice cakes, also known as tteokbokki? The general consensus when it comes to Korean food is most of the time, if it's not sweet and spicy, it is at least one of them. So some of the things that I ended up trying before last year ended was one, the sweet and spicy rice cakes, which the one that I got came from Trader Joe's, and it was really good, but also I think it was I think it was supposed to be like a share thing, not just one person eats the entire thing. I still ate the entire thing. However, eating the entire thing, I don't think I should have, because the sweetness of these sweet and spicy rice cakes ended up getting a bit too much for me. However, the second thing I ended up trying before the year end was Buldak Ramyun noodles. I wanted to make sure that I said it correctly. But I found that as a vegetarian, I'm still able to eat Buldak ramen. Mainly because when it comes to the chicken flavor of the ramen, it's artificial. It's completely artificial. There's like no chicken in it. But yeah, this chicken flavored noodle, I can eat it. I can eat it because there's no chicken in it. At the same time, it is very funny because Buldak directly translates into fire chicken. But something else I ended up wanting to try, and I will end up trying later, probably later on today, I still have not figured that one out, and that is jajang tteokbokki. Or this one's supposed to be ramen and tteokbokki, the sweet and spicy rice cakes. Jajang, I believe, is a black bean or black soybean sauce paste. They also had a kimchi one, so my mom ended up getting me the kimchi one because she knows that I like kimchi. But the general consensus is most of the time the food is spicy and sweet, or just spicy, or just sweet. And another fun fact is, if you ever want to go ahead and like ask how spicy something is, try Shin Ramyun, because that will basically help you figure out if you can actually handle the spice. If you can't handle the spice of Shin Ramyun, then it's probably best that you don't really go for anything spicy. Say like mild or no spice. Because of the fact that I just I just eat spicy foods regardless now, because I can, and because spicy food is a better way of handling my anxiety than trying to calm myself down as an anxious person. As a person that loves food, I tend to get very interested and excited over the food culture in said country. And yeah, that is as organized as this video will actually end up being, but as much as I would like to go ahead and share that I was able to properly organize. If there's anything that you should take away from this video, it's that I'm back. You should definitely try out foods from different countries. And if you're already interested in moving to a very specific country, first try out the food to see whether you would actually like it, especially if it's just like the more common foods that you would end up getting while you're there. As a vegetarian, I also have to figure out whether I would be able to eat comfortably in that country. And with that being said, hope you had a good New Year's. I was tired the entire time, and I am very much excited for what I have to do next. This is Toki, your local internet friend, signing off.